Sorry. Who's the Canucks fan here?
I'm not a Nux fan, but I was going for him.
Yeah, me too. Oh well. It's the nature of sport and the beauty of it, huh? It doesn't go the way you hope all the time, and on the rare occasion that does, it's fantastic. So yeah, I didn't watch the game, but I certainly watched the highlights, and it was an interesting one. They got so close, so close. Anyway, welcome to the four of you this evening. Hopefully, might have a couple more trickle in. Um, so just certain in terms of splits tonight, have I got anyone from the Tigers?
Yeah, me.
Yep. And anyone from the Jokers? Presumably all the rest of it.
No, I'm a Tiger.
So I just want to talk. This is kind of relevant to everyone. I'm recording this, so it'll go out and everyone get a chance to look at it. Um, we had a bit of an incident that occurred during the Tigers versus the Southern Lights game on the weekend. Anyone know what it was?
Too many men while we scored.
Yeah, we had too many players on the ice, and we scored a goal under that circumstance. The fact about it is that the referees missed it, we missed it, the Lights missed it. Pretty much everyone was unaware of the fact that it happened until you go back and look at the video afterwards, and then it's pretty obvious. But we scored a goal when we had six players plus the goalie on the ice. Unfortunately, despite everything that I've done about that, there's nothing we can do after the fact. The referees call the game as we said. One of the ways that I don't know if you guys know, but I do a lot of the commentary for the Pro League, and when the Ducks are playing in the Pacific and so forth. Anton Goss and I did the commentary for that. And the observation that we make throughout the game, and hopefully that you guys will get familiar with as well to an extent, is that the referees decide what reality is, and the rest of us are interested observers. And they just didn't see it. So if the refs didn't see it, it didn't happen. So we won the game 1-0. And you could make the case, and I actually did to Ryan Hines, the rink manager, that look, if the rink decided to nullify that goal at some point and make it nil all, we'd be okay with that, because we shouldn't have scored the goal; it should have been disallowed. But they said no, that's not how it works. So we did what we could, I guess, to put things right. But ultimately, the referees decide what is right, and no disrespect to them whatsoever. The referees we had that evening were excellent. They just missed that one. Sometimes goals are scored when players are offside. Sometimes goals are disallowed for all sorts of random things, and it's just one of those things that, as a sporting player, you just have to suck it up and deal with it. Sometimes it bounces on your side. On this occasion, it did. Sometimes it'll go the other way, and goals will be allowed that perhaps shouldn't be allowed against us. And when that happens, we just need to remember that sometimes it goes our way and sometimes it doesn't, and that's just the nature of sport. And I think in some ways it's a valuable lesson, even though it's pretty disappointing for the Lights. That was a game that they did very well in, but we did what we could to provide a just outcome. The rules say can't change the result after the game's over. That's how it is. So we'll take the points. We're not going to say no to them, but just if you see a Lights player and you're a Tiger, so look, we're sorry that happened. We didn't know we were doing it either, because honestly, it was an absolute honest mistake. But it will also be the subject of our pre-game talks before the derby in particular, which is coming up this weekend, where we'll be talking very much about why did that happen and what can we do to prevent it, because we should never have six players on the ice unless we've done it deliberately. How can it happen? Because what's supposed to happen?
You follow the person who comes off, so jump on when you see your guy come off.
So it shouldn't even really be possible, should it?
Not really.
Not really, because what we do is, and we do this very early on in the piece, we give you guys responsibility for your changes. Sometimes you're gonna stuff it up. That's just, again, it's the nature of learning, and it's the nature of sport and pressure and adrenaline and all those things that we already know about. So we're going to be just kind of reinforcing that during the pre-game briefings for the derby this coming weekend and every other game. So don't go on until your player's off, and if you're coming off, stay off. Sometimes what happens is you'll come close to the bench and then you'll change your mind and go back off again, because you might think there's a play you need to be involved in. Don't be that guy. Once you're committed to the change, take the change. And that's probably the only way that I think it could realistically happen. If someone's come in for a change, someone else has jumped on for them who should have, and then they've stayed on, which is using our system, the only way that it could legitimately happen, it can happen by accident, you jump on for the wrong player or whatever, but it shouldn't happen structurally unless something like that's occurred, just because of the way that we do it. So just something to be mindful of. I'm not telling it off, not cranky with anyone. It's just one of those things. I feel sorry and bad for what happened to the Lights. It should have been a 0-0 draw, but again, that's what the referee's called, so that's how it is. Whether we or they like it or not, we just have to accept the referee's decision as being what reality is, and that's how it is. Mark Farello is an excellent referee. He was the head ref on that evening, and I'm sure that he'd look at that video and go, "Oh my God, how did I miss that?" Because he's refereed thousands of games and he's a really, really good ref. But
it's not like they didn't miss it the other 2 times we got sent to the bench for it.
We got caught for it a couple of times that game. So, all right, what's going on? We obviously said something that structurally we need to fix, so we'll be looking at addressing that. Any other thoughts from the game on the weekend, apart from the goal that shouldn't have been? What weren't the Tigers doing that they needed to? We've got 2 Tigers here. What wasn't happening that needed to happen?
I actually don't know. As a defender, I know I pinched a lot, which is not good.
That's okay. We'll work on that. That's getting your head around it. But there was something missing. There's a very famous quote by Wayne Gretzky. Anyone know? I mean, there's a couple. But
We weren't shooting.
yeah, you weren't shooting. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And we discussed that briefly in the post game as well. And I think it was Luke Stormer who made the observation, because he got a breakaway and it was a nice one and he had no one anywhere near him. And then he went to shoot, and by the time he went to shoot, he was past the goal. And that's because, and the observation that he made, it's a great learning experience for him, is that if you're not thinking about shooting as you're crossing that blue line, by the time you certainly when you're starting off, by the time all the cogs are sort of rotated to the right orientation inside your brain, it's too late. So you've got to be thinking shoot early, shoot early, shoot early, shoot early. Because if you do that, you might actually shoot at the right time. If you don't start thinking about it till you're at the hash marks, it's just not going to happen. Because our whole game plan revolves around creating those odd player rushes. And we did a lot of them, we just couldn't capitalize on them. Again, game 3, it doesn't matter, it's all part of the learning process. The fact that we're actually getting those rushes now is really good. So that's a great thing. And John, you're right, we've got to watch the pinch, but you know that. I also know how hard it is to deal with that instinct, and we'll start working on more of how that gets dealt with around about game 5, game 6, when we start to talk about the winger's responsibility in defence, because we haven't really done very much of that yet. So with that in mind, I'm not going to go through the rest of the Tigers game. On the whole, we played a pretty good game, with the exception of not shooting enough and occasionally having too many players on the ice. But what I do want to talk about tonight is 2 things. One of them we haven't introduced yet, and we normally introduce around about game 2, and that's a thing called the 1-2-2 forecheck. And the other part will be triangle attack. We worked on the triangle attack in our training session. We have another training session coming up. I believe it's this Sunday, or maybe it's next Sunday, whichever one. I'm sure you guys will.
Next Sunday.
Okay, so we have a training session then where we'll be working on those skills in particular, but also reinforcing our breakout and getting our wingers to move more, because that's a real key thing. But the 1-2-2 forecheck is a core thing. First of all, before I start pulling up videos and stuff like that, what is a forecheck?
It's getting the puck back between the blue lines or in your offensive zone.
Forecheck. What's a forecheck?
Sorry, other way around.
Anyone apart from John? What's a forecheck? You put the puck all the way down the other end. The other team's got the puck, and they're trying to break it out of their end. The pressure you put on them at that end is called a forecheck. Okay. I will show you a couple of videos of it so you can see what I mean and how to turn a forecheck into a goal scoring opportunity. We used to do a lot more of these up until this season. Whenever you iced the puck, the game wasn't brought back for a defensive zone face-off. The game was allowed to continue. The other team was required to get possession of the puck, and then we had to give them a bit of room so they could start their breakout. So it basically meant they got a lot of breakout practice, and the game kind of flowed a little bit better. But we've got the hybrid icing rule now, which is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's the rules that we play under. So I want to show you. Just first of all, I'll pull it up on some pictures so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, 2-2, here we go. All right, just for a second while I share the right picture. Right, Zoom, come back. No, I don't want my Python IDE, not helpful. Things all over the place, this thing. Anyway. Right, so here's the setup. The green team is the team breaking the puck out. So you can see here's the puck down here. Okay. So they've got the puck for whatever reason, they're breaking it out. This is the same thing that we've done in our training sessions. We're all familiar with what should happen in this situation if we're the team breaking the puck out. So if that was us breaking it out, we would have that winger would put themselves here. That winger would be doing that. That player would be going across to here. And that player would be going to there. And that's our breakout. And we would go puck, puck, and off to the races and score a goal, right? That's how it works in theory. Now, if you're the other team and you're opposing that, it's called forechecking on them. So we're going to put pressure on their breakout, and it's called we're checking pressure on the foreground. So it's called a forecheck. What we would do in that situation is we do a thing called a 1-2-2, and there's as many forechecks as you can think of, but this is one that we work on. And the idea is that we're trying to encourage them to do a shitty dribbler. And if they do a shitty dribbler, we can intercept it and score a goal. So the idea is that our first forward comes in this way, takes the boards away, and then curls towards that player like that. The second forward comes into about here, and the third forward comes into about there. The 2D come up to the red line. Okay. If you're feeling bolder, you can come up to the blue line. But because they've got possession, if this doesn't work and they get behind us, we've got problems. So we don't want to let our D, usually you want to be a bit conservative to start with. So don't come up any further with the red line until you can read the game a bit better. What this does is it encourages this player to say, oh, I can't take the boards because there's a player there. And they will hopefully do that pass. When they do, we've got two forwards waiting there to grab it and go score a goal. And you might think no one would be that stupid, would they? Surely not. What do we know about pressure in sport?
Makes you stupid.
Makes you stupid, absolutely. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of it in action here. The first one I'll show you, this is from a grand final a couple of years ago, this is from the grade above yours. So back then it was called C1. Now it's called Div 8. Not that it makes any difference for us. It's no real difference. And we'll show you a recording of it, and you can see. So we've got the Feisty Lizards in white against the Hat-Trick Swayzes in the darkish kind of multicolored thingo. Puck gets fired all the way down the other end. Now we'll have a look and see what happens. All right. It hasn't crossed the line. It's not icing. So this case is actually a legitimate demonstration for us. So you can see here that the Swayzes player has gone back to pick it up. Yeah. There's the puck. You all see that all right?
Yep.
Now, what we want to happen, or what should happen in this situation, is that the forecheck from the white team, the Lizards, should do. See the D are moving up. This one should do that. The other two forwards should go to about here and about here, roughly, if they execute it perfectly. The reason why this is curling and not going straight towards that player is you want to take the board option away from them. You know how what we say to that D who's going to pick up the puck? What's his safest option?
Put it on the wall.
Yeah, up the boards. Wouldn't we? We'd be saying up, play it up the boards. Oh, but there's a player there. I can't. Yes, you can. Usually you get past them anyway, or you could play it around. But we're trying to provide a suggestion to that player that the up the boards option is not a good option just by putting a body there. Doesn't necessarily have to be particularly effective. It's just a body in the way. So watch what happens. All right. So we've got a 1-2-2-4 check. It's not exactly what we want. But if you have a look at what we have, so just looking at this picture, there's our 1 in the 1-2-2. There's 2 and 2. So this one here's in the right spot, yeah? This forecheck should have gone down there like that, but instead has come down the middle. It's okay, it's better than nothing. This player looks up and sees that all of this area is kind of closed off, isn't it? There's 2 players there. I don't know, put the puck there. That's a really bad choice, yeah? It's not really, but it looks like it's a bad choice. See what happens. Let's annotate our stupid thing. See that? Passed it straight to the forechecker. Goal. All right. That's in Div 8, C1. NHL players wouldn't be that stupid, would they? Let's watch this. This is Boston and Florida. Yay! Not this season, but anyway. What do we got? And you can't see a top down here, but you've got one forechecker. One of the Boston forwards is here, and the other one's going to come across to about there in the not very long, and will probably pop themselves here. So we'll probably end up with 2 forwards roughly there. It's moving faster than you would be able to do normally in C2, give or take. But let's see what actually happens. We'll see it again from a different angle. It's a Boston goal. I love them. All right, so look at the forecheck setting up there. You've got one forward in deep, putting pressure on their D. Not where I would like it, but because of the flow of the game, that's kind of how it's had to work out. You've got another Boston forward coming in to end up basically running a line to get to here, and the other one running a line roughly to get to there. So it's our 1-2-2-4 check. Boston copying us. It's great. We're not copying them. See that? Straight to him. Oh, nice. I'll take that. And tickle the twine. Easy as you like. And that's a 1-2-2-4 check. If you need any more convincing, this was from a Div 9 C2 grand final a couple of years ago. When we played, this was when we were the Mac Daddies, and this was the Mac Daddies in the blue playing against the Big Deals in the burgundy and orange or whatever it is. So this is a grand final. Whee. Right. So what have we here? They're setting up their breakout, yeah? They got 1D back. You can all see that all right? See what happens. What this forward has done over here is taken away the boards. So this guy's looking up and thinking, oh, I can't play it up the boards. That would be a bad choice. So instead, I'm going to pass across to this winger who has not moved across and up the ice? Whoops. And that, my friends, is a 1-2-2 forecheck. Works in the NHL and it works in beginner league. Are we going to get it absolutely perfectly right this weekend?
Probably
Obviously.
not.
Probably not. No, we won't. But we're going to start working on it. The thing to remember with all of these games is that they are practice towards the end of the season. Because we only have a limited number of actual training sessions, the games are essentially our training sessions, just we've got live opposition and referees and a scoreboard and all those other things that make it more interesting. So this week we'll be working on trying to integrate the 1-2-2 forecheck into our game. Bear in mind to start off with, it's not going to work very well. There'll be two going in or no one going in or people sort of skating in at random and those sorts of things as we try and improve it. Those of you who come along to the Zoom sessions and kind of watch this usually learn it a bit quicker than those that don't because you get a little bit of a head start. So it does help. And we also want to see if we can get our defensive zone face-off a little bit more reliable. It's starting to work though, isn't it? Are we creating opportunities out of that D-zone face-off?
I'd say yes.
Absolutely. And it's another thing that works at every level of the sport. It's that quick movement of the wingers that creates opportunities everywhere from, again, beginner league all the way through to NHL. It works everywhere. Quick movement, catch the D on their heels because they're moving up instead of being ready to get back, and away you go. And that's where the goals are. The most likely way to score a goal is an odd play rush. We want to create them as much as we can. So some more examples. The other thing I wanted to look at, we'll keep this one reasonably short. We'll probably only be about another 15 or 20 minutes. Is the triangle attack. We'll remember the triangle attack. Anyone not familiar with what it is? Those of you that are watching this on a replay, of course, you can't answer that because you're not here. But anyway, it's all good. I've got a PDF on the 1-2-2 forecheck, which I'll email out tonight as well, so you'll get a copy of it. Where'd it go? 1-2-2 triangle attack. Here we go. Where's my picture of my rink? That's what I wanted. Right, I'll share it again. Oops, not like that. Okay, here's our rink. Triangle attack. Who's played basketball here?
I have.
Anyone played field hockey? Water polo. Maybe not so much canoe polo, but water polo. Or underwater hockey. Or soccer. Or yeah, they're probably the main ones. Your attacking formation when the puck's being put in somewhere not directly in front of the net. Say, for example, the puck's ended up over here in the corner. You want to have one forward over there contesting it, one forward here in the low slot, and one floating around here in the high slot. You got a triangle, right? Boom, 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 triangle. And you kind of rotate that triangle around as the puck moves to try and make sure that you've always got a player here and always got a player here. Why do you want them? Why don't we all pile into the corner?
Spreads the defense.
Yeah, it spreads the defense. And what else? What if it doesn't spread the defense?
You could potentially get the person at the top could potentially have a screen shot, and the person down in the goals might get a chance for a deflection.
Yep, rebounds, absolutely. They're big ones. But the main one is you're going to have 3 players in the area where goals are scored the most. I think I showed you guys the heat map from last week, didn't I? Did I show you the heat map? If not, I'll grab a copy of it. So where goals are scored. And it's quite enlightening. So let me pull it up while my file system tries to cope. There we go, here's the heat map. So what a heat map is just a look at the statistics of where goals are scored. And you'll get sick of me showing you this, but I don't mind. There's the heat map. All right. So in attack, we pretty much always want to have a forward here. I'll just a different color so you can see it. It's not very helpful. A back annotator, not all the way over there. It's going to be visible against this. Maybe black might be the most visible one. So you always want to have a forward here. Sorry, it shouldn't move to the side, but you know, here and another one here, while there's a battle going on over there. And don't go and help in the battle. Why not?
If the puck slips out, you can be in position, ready for a shot.
Yeah, you can always go get it. If you go and help, you're effectively out of the game. There are times to do it. If they've already got a player in there, then you might go in as well. So you're evening your numbers. You're not trying to produce like, and if you were going to go over there to contest it, you'd probably want this player to do it, not that one, as a general rule. But it's going to be kind of whoever sees it first. If you're going to go and help in a puck battle, be ready to get out of there in a hurry, because if they get possession and they get a breakout, all of a sudden that they're on their own and we're overexposed and overcommitted, which is even more of an issue. We want to try and make sure that we don't have all of our forwards all burying themselves off 1, 2, and 3, because then we can't get back. And our priority is to get back. This forward in our previous triangle setup, this one is not just there to score a goal. They're also there to get back there in a hurry because they're closer. Because remember, we don't let anyone in this space without someone in their face. So that's another reason to do it. Well, let's have a look at the fun reason for it. Because defense is important, but scoring goals is more important, right? Hang on, that's wrong. But anyway, let's have a look at why.
So typically on either side of that triangle as well, is that going to be the winger in either corner?
Whoever gets there first, but usually,
Okay.
mainly because it's usually the wingers that get away first, because in our particular game plan, the centers are following the wingers in, not leading the wingers in.
Okay.
It varies because it's very context sensitive, and the game is a dynamic game. We're trying to impose structure on essentially chaos, which sometimes works, but mostly it's more of a guiding principle than an absolute. You know, I need to be exactly here at this point in time, because it just doesn't work like that. It's not gridiron. It's too random, but that doesn't mean that we're not trying to create some level of structure so that we can exploit breakdowns in the defensive pattern from the other team. So I will show you some videos of the triangle in action. There's a really good one here. This is Los Angeles against Boston. Sorry, again, my apologies if you don't like the Boston videos, but there you go. Right, see the triangle? They cycle around a little bit, but they're still keeping a triangle, see? Oh, look out. Now what's happened? If you're
Center's fully open.
yeah, see that? High slot, wide open, in the prime scoring position. Goal. I mean, you can see it. It's so obvious. You think, how did they let this happen? That guy's lost half his teeth. But anyway. And it's just maintaining that triangle. A little bit of motion when it all got confused, but it's the movement around. To start off with, LA do a pretty good job of containing it. All right, their wingers. This winger's doing a great job of covering that player. That's really nice. So that's good cover. That's exactly where they need to be. Basically taking that player out of the game. I'll go back to red so we can see it again against this background. All right, so that's good play there. What else is going on? Just looking at what those wingers are doing. You can see the two LA wingers. All right. So this one's covering that one. This one's covering that one. I'd probably prefer if that winger was up a little bit higher here, but much of a muchness, and that's their structure. They want their wingers to pinch down a little bit lower. I'd prefer at our grade that we start a bit higher, but it doesn't really matter. Also here, you've got a one-on-one battle, and a player here still occupying most of that space. So LA are doing a pretty good job defensively at that point, and it all looks pretty solid. Like Boston aren't going to score here, not on my watch. Oh yeah. Now, watch what happens. Wingers are still doing the right thing. That D is still doing the right thing. This D is still doing the right thing. Watch what this guy does. Goes in to help. Don't go and help. That happens. It's just a triangle. No magic to it at all. It's a really nice one here. I'll just pull up another one so you can see it. You can kind of you can see millions of examples of these. You just go looking at goals on YouTube of NHL goals, and you'll see hundreds of them. All right. So there's a D zone breakout for starters, isn't there? See, the wingers have got away. Get around. What have we got? I don't know how well you can see that. Winger in the corner. Forward here. And Liam Webster sitting right there. Liam Webster's one of the best centres in Australia. See the triangle? Didn't work out the first time. Liam just circles around. Now look where he is. Unmarked in the high slot. There's that triangle again. Whack, goal. There you go. Simple. I don't know that we get much of a replay on this. Apart from Liam going, yay. And then it was too dark for the cameras. But anyway. Another good reason for a triangle. I'll show you this video as well. And we're just about done. Probably sick of me showing you videos of triangles. That's not really a triangle there, though, is it? It's not a very good triangle example. That's just someone being in the slot and picking up a dirty rebound. So anyway, that's the triangle, and that's the idea is that it's usually the center who will be the higher player up in the high slot instead of going deep in the slot, creating that opportunity and making the goal happen, and also being ready to come back in a hurry if they need to. So that's really all I wanted to go through tonight is, let's get our changes right. So we're not running 6 on the ice again and having to sit bench penalties or worse, get goals or give away goals that just shouldn't happen. And we can't fix it now. The 1-2-2-4 check and the triangle in attack. We will continue to work on pinching in defence, John, just for you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And everyone else playing D as well, because it's such a hard instinct to overcome. And we'll start to get more of the wingers involved in the back check around about game 5, game 6, when their heads are a bit more ready to start dealing with it. Because to start with, wingers are just all about, go score a goal, move across and up, and they're like, oh, so much to do. And because there is. Whereas by comparison, a defense's job is a little bit simpler. Get back on the slot. If in doubt, just stand there. If you want to be a stay-at-home D to start with, that's not a bad option. We're hard to score against with stay-at-home D. So that's kind of what I wanted to go through tonight. Anything you guys want to talk about?
If someone was gonna do, was it a 1-2-2-4 check or yeah? How do you break out of one?
Well, what are our options? What are the
You
two
pass
that we have? We've got up and over.
behind the net, I
We've got up.
guess.
What's up?
Right, you just send it up.
Yeah, up is up the boards. You know that one. You should know it by now. And the other option is over, so play it behind the net. If they cut
Right.
off that board, and if they cut off the edge and you can't take it, play it behind the net.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It looked like that by that he's playing it right around.
Yeah, just not in front of it. That's all. Because you can take it around the other side and just reverse the play on the forecheck. It's actually pretty easy to do, especially if your other forwards and your other they're talking to you. When you go back to dig the puck out and you're under pressure, you're going to get a couple of calls. You'll either get time or pressure. Time meaning you've got plenty of time. Pressure meaning you better hurry. And you're going to get up, which means play it up the boards, or you're going to get over, which means play it behind the net across the other side. If the boards are taken away from you with a 1-2-2-4 check, play over.
Okay, makes sense.
It sounds simple. But then there's pressure, right? And pressure makes it harder. So we'll be practicing that a little bit at training as well on next Saturday or Sunday or whenever it is. So this round coming up is the first of the derbies. It's at an unfortunate time. I think it's at 8:30 or something horrible like that, which although it's a great time to play, it's really kind of prime time for the game. What it does do is what we would really love the two teams to do is get together before or afterwards and just, be a squad. We like from the point of view of the coaching and management group, we really want to see you guys get together as much as possible, share war stories, and just generally enjoy each other's company. We can't make it happen and we won't make it happen. You're adults, not kids. But if you want to organise to go somewhere for a meal beforehand or afterwards, just don't leave it too late and probably don't light up on 5 Palmers or you'll be Palmer on ice secondhand. Because it can, it seems obvious, but don't get into the Terps or anything like that before you get on the ice. It's not pretty. And the other thing to remember too is that we're very much a mixed group. So not somewhere that's a beer barn, somewhere that's kind of got a bit of something for everyone. But we'd love to see that happen. But you guys can organise that through your group chats. We're not going to organise it for you. Anything else?
No, I'm happy.
Oh, awesome. Just a nice sort of sharp one because it was just the one game. And yeah, we've kind of dealt with the embarrassing thing that happened as best we can. So yeah, I will see you on the weekend for the first game. If you are interested in watching what should be some really good hockey on Friday night, the iceHQ's Women's Pro League kicks off this Friday night. And it's a pretty good show. They play. It'll be very good hockey, and you'll get to see a lot of the same stuff that we do, just at a higher pace. But yeah, it's a non-checking competition because it's the girls' league, and it'll be pretty exciting. So if you're looking for something to do on a Friday night, come along down to the rink and show the girls a bit of support because I know they appreciate it when they get more of a crowd. It's great fun playing in front of a crowd. If you've never done it, it's pretty amazing, and it doesn't take much to fill up iceHQ, but it's nice to do it. So yeah, come along on Friday night, or if not, you can watch it on the live stream. Gossie and I are commentating again, so you can listen to us crapping on about the game. Gossie is actually really good at play-by-play. He's superb at it. I do the colour stuff and he does the play-by-play. So I pick all the tactics apart and say what they're doing wrong, and Gossie gets excited about the goals. Anyway, we will see you on the weekend in some way, shape, or form. Enjoy the rest of
Wonderful, mate.
Any questions, you can always reach out. But yeah, get on your group chats and see if you can organise something for the weekend before or after. I planted the seed a bit with the Tigers, but those of you who are jokers, please do try and make it happen if you can.
Awesome. Cheers, Carl.
And good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Hooroo.
Thanks, Carl.